So in this video, I'm going to repower this 1968 Sears Suburban 12. It currently has a Tecumseh OH160 in it. This is just aftermarket, replacement engine. But I'm going to pull this out, put it in a tractor that it would be factory in. And then have a 8 horsepower Honda that I'm going to stick in here. This is a little bit of an older one, just from the look of that sticker and the design of the recoil. It needs a little bit of work. The choke thing is broken off. The gas in the tank smells really old, so we'll have to probably clean the carburetor and stuff on this engine. And then get that put in this tractor. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this Tecumseh taken out. Alright, well, the engine's out. It's sitting next to the tractor. So I was just, I had the tractor flipped over here because the top of these two bolts here were rounded out. So I flipped it over to get a better reach at the bottom. And I'm glad I flipped it over because look at this pulley. That is completely rusted through, so that sucks. So I don't think I'm going to be able to get that pulley off without pulling the whole transmission out. So I guess I gotta pull the whole transmission out now and take that pulley off and put it back in. Real fun. So I got the transmission problem fixed. Here's the old pulley off it. Yeah, it's pretty bad. And then I also replaced the little transmission bracket. This was found towards the front. You can see all the cracks in it. All of the bolts holding the transmission were loose, so it was just kind of ready to fall out, and only half of them were there. I think someone's had it out before, and they didn't put it back together all the way. And then also I realized that the engine I'm taking out of it doesn't have compression. So it could have, probably a valve issue would be my guess, because you can hear and feel the piston going up and down. So I'm actually okay, switching it out with this, and I'll look at that some other time, or, put that engine and a parts engine I have together and maybe make a good one, or, whatever. So, got the Honda just sitting in there. So I got the clutch bracket. I already cut that little notch out of the corner. This is something I haven't had to do in quite a long time, because recently I've been just using the engines that's come in them. So, that actually just happens to line up with that one bolt where the regulator was sitting. So then I just have drilled that hole bigger and then drill another hole on the other one there. And this just happens to be exactly where I want it to be, so that's nice. And then go grab a 4-inch pulley from upstairs and stick that on the engine, drill 4 holes. And then I guess before actually mounting the engine, maybe make sure it actually runs. So I'm going to get that clutch mounted, make sure this engine runs, and come back and give you an update. So I got the clutch mounted. It kind of goes over to the side when you push it in, so that kind of sucks, but I'll have to figure that out. So it does run. It does smoke a little bit. I had it running for probably 3 or 4 minutes and the smoke hasn't really gotten better. So that is interesting. But the carburetor does seem to be running a little rich too, so that's probably not helping. Got the clutch mounted, like I was kind of showing you before how I was gonna. But the thing is that I gotta figure out is it does this. And that's mainly because the little bushing in here is so wore that it just wants to go like that. So I'm going to have to figure out something different with that. But I'm going to let that engine cool down a little bit. And then set that in here, get some holes drilled to get the engine mounted. And we'll go from there. So I got the engine mounting holes drilled. I used a 3/8 drill bit and I'm using 5/16 bolts. I always drilled a hole one size bigger just because if you didn't have your marker lined quite up, your engine ain't in there crooked, you can kind of, move it a little bit. So I'm going to get that bolted down and then go from there. So as you can see, I got the engine mounted. I got the back of the tractor jacked up way in the air because I'm draining the oil. I probably should have did this before putting the engine in there. So because currently there's a bunch of oil right on the front of the frame. I'm waiting for that to drip into the drip pan. And that oil that came out, it's very runny, smells like old gas. So I'm thinking that's probably why it smoked. Is the oil's too thin and it was getting into the cylinder. So I'm gonna get some fresh stuff in there and then of course let this drain drip off the front of the frame for like another hour, and then I'll come back and then we'll start it up and try driving it and see if it runs a little bit better. Okay, so I got the oil changed, I got the front tires switched out for the ones that is gonna for sure be on it for now. They're not gonna be the permanent front tire because they're still a little bit, you know, more aggressive than the back tires, but it's at least, you know, good enough for now. I already started wet sanding the fenders with some steel wool and some soapy water, and you can see the difference from this fender to the other fender. Looks a little bit brighter, that one's all faded, this one's nice and a little bit shinier, and it also removes some of the rust. It ain't gonna work on the hood though. I'm not even gonna touch the hood with that. I would like to start the engine, but of course it's pouring rain outside and it's coming right in the garage door, so I can't have that open to start it. And then looking around the tractor, I realized that one of the tie rod ends was rusted quite bad, so I actually took it apart, and it fell apart as I was taking off. Normally I would just drill through this and put a bolt through it and call it a day, but with that big hole missing in the side, it wouldn't take much for this to just break. So I went upstairs and found one off of probably like an MTD something, and sure enough, it has the same threads and it fit right on there, and did an alignment on it because it was towed way out, and here we are. So I'm gonna get the rest of this wet sanded, and then hopefully it's nice enough at the time where I can start this up and then actually drive it. Okay, so it's been a couple minutes since I just drove it, and it looks like the throttle, it wants to idle kind of high, which you probably could hear. The lowest I had it running there, that was idle. It doesn't go any slower. So I did adjust the idle screw on the carb, and if you push this here, it wants to go to idle, but something to do with the governor on the other side, more than likely, which would be the adjustment right here. So I gotta loosen that up and get a pliers in there and adjust that some. But that is gonna be it for now on this. So thanks for watching. Not as, you know, in depth of a video as I'd like, but I've done so many repowers that's just like, I don't know. So anyway, thanks for watching, and we'll go from there.